Well, the top story that we are in fact bringing for you today comes in from France, as Prime Minister Narendra Modi is headed to the country over the weekend for a bilateral visit as well as the G7 Leaders Summit. He will be in Nice on June 13th and 14th and in Evian on June 16th and 17th for the summit, and in Paris on June 17th and 18th. This is the Prime Minister's 7th official visit to France since 2014 and follows French President Emmanuel Macron's visit to India on February 17 to 19, when bilateral relations were elevated to a special global strategic partnership. France is one of India's most preferred partners in Europe, and the relationship, built on strategic autonomy and respect, has been a success story over the last several decades. Let's in fact take a look at what's on the agenda when the Prime Minister actually visits France, because we'll get to you as to why he is there. He's taking part in a lot of different conferences as well as a lot of different agendas that are on display over there. Let's look at his schedule. So the first thing is bilateral talks with the President of France, Macron, in Nice. So obviously, the first thing that he will be doing is meet President Macron, talk about the bilateral ties which have been elevated to a global strategic partnership in February this year. Let's look at the second thing that's on the agenda, which is joint inauguration of Bharat Innovates 2026. Now, remember that Bharat Innovates 2026 is a flagship platform. It is under the Ministry of Education, and higher education universities and institutions are coming together to present their technological ventures so that they can attract investments from across the globe. And that's what both the leaders will in fact be inaugurating over there. Let's look at number 3, which is participation at the G7 summit in Evian. So obviously G7 summit, Leaders Summit will also be held. A lot on the agenda at that time as well, and a lot of the leaders coming together, so major decisions and major statements will be coming out through that summit. Let's look at the fourth thing on the agenda, which is attend the Viva Tech Summit in Paris. This is another tech summit that the Prime Minister will in fact be attending in Paris, and that gives a broader perspective of how technology, innovation, startups will be featuring as a priority during this visit. Let's look at number 5. What's on the agenda? Strengthen defense and strategic cooperation. Well, there has been a lot of speculation regarding the Rafale deal, if India will push forward for more technology transfer, if India will push forward for acquiring more Rafales, and hence the strategic and defense partnership might be on the agenda. Let's look at number 6, which is boosting the India-France Year of Innovation. Like we mentioned earlier as well, this is the year that both the countries want to in fact focus on innovation, on startup, on tech, and hence this boost will also be given to expanding their partnership in the field of innovation. So a lot on the agenda, viewers, and focus is on technology. Let's also in fact discuss this further with Ambassador Sushil Kumar Singhal, who is a former diplomat, and he's joined us on this broadcast for his valuable perspective. Ambassador, thank you so much for taking out your time and for speaking to NewsX. I want to understand what, according to you, is the priority that India will be looking at right now? Is it the defense, is it Rafale deals, or is it technology, where the Prime Minister will obviously be attending and also inaugurating 2 tech ventures over there, sir?
Well, Shivani, thank you very much for having me. And this visit of the Prime Minister, as you said, also, it's the 7th visit of the Prime Minister to France. France, over the period of last 10, 15 years, has emerged as a very important partner of India. Though, of course, historically also, India and France have a very good relationship, because France has a unique position in NATO and Western countries, that it follows its own policies. It does not always toe the line of other countries. So that has been very, very helpful to India. And as the President Macron said, that India is a strategic partner. And during the G7 also, they are looking for towards India to contributes towards the West Asia crisis and Indo-Pacific. So India is going to, Prime Minister will speak in G7 on these two topics because India is not a member of G7 as we know, but India is participating as a outreach program of the G7. When it comes to the bilateral side, there are many important, I think, takeaways for me. One is the Rafale. Of course, everybody's talking about the Rafale deal. It's one of the biggest deal which is being discussed from Indian side to acquire 114 aircrafts, fighter aircrafts, and they are talking about the joint production. So I think the main focus, everybody will be looking at what progress takes place in the Rafale discussion. Other is the second, in my view, when I'm talking the defense side, defense industry cooperation. Because France is emerging as a major partner and as part of the Made in India. So there will be discussions, I think, with the various, be it Airbus, Safran for the defense equipment as well as for the aircraft. So, and we can expect certain announcement during the visit. The nuclear energy. France is a leading producer of the nuclear energy, and both sides are working together to have set up a nuclear power plant in India. So I feel that there will be some announcement of that on that side. Then artificial intelligence and advanced technology. You already mentioned about it, but they have already India and France have already elevated their ties to special global strategic partnership with the strong emphasis which is on the artificial intelligence, innovation, cyber security. So that area, I think, will again receive a focus. And now going towards the political side, I think Indo-Pacific and the maritime security will be big focus because both countries, they are the votary of the freedom of navigation and also multipolar. So I expect some announcement on this area, like Navy on the Navy cooperation, maritime domain awareness, and of course Indian Ocean security and joint exercises which goes on. So I feel these five areas, in my view, are going to be the areas which we need to watch, and because I expect that there will be announcements. Of course, everything cannot be closed during the visit, but they will give the major directive to the authorities on the base side to move on in these areas. And the visit is very important for us, apart from these areas, because of course, apart from the technology, the UN Security Council, France, India supports India for the membership, and we also talk about, as I said, multipolar world. They said, no dependence, no strategic dependence, without depending on on any bloc. And for France, of course, India is a major partner because we are the largest market, and of course, Indo-Pacific, we are a major player, and influence in Asia. France always look to increase their influence in India through in Asia through India. So I think it's a win-win, going to be a win-win visit. And of course, the visit for this participation in G7 will be icing on the cake, where
Absolutely.
I think will be opportunity to talk there's a news that the Prime Minister will be meeting President Donald Trump, which will be the first meeting since February last year.
Yeah.
So this is also going to be very, very interesting that what transpires in the meeting.
Absolutely,
Shivani.
Ambassador. Some very